Okay, I think we are recording now. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Southside Slopes Neighborhood Association Development Activities Meeting. My name is Gavin Robb. I am a board member and co-chair of the Zoning Committee of the Slopes Association. I have fellow board members, Cara Jetty and Brad Palmiciano with me today. We also have Thomas from the City Planning Department, who is going to tell us a little bit about why we're here tonight and what an RCO and what a development activities meeting is. So Thomas, can you give us just a little brief intro?
Sure. Yeah. So Southside Slopes Neighborhood Association serves as a registered community organization, or RCO, which is like there's a formal role as a liaison between the neighborhood community and then when there's development above a certain threshold that goes in the neighborhood. So in this case, there's a proposal for East Warrington Avenue that will likely need to go to Planning Commission and potentially to Zoning Board of Adjustment. I'll leave that to the applicants to share, but because of that, kind of meeting that threshold, it would need to goes to this development activities meeting, and then this starts a 30-day public comment period where public can both at this meeting, but can share comments and questions with the developer team, but also reach out to the commissions that will hear the proposal. So that my role is really primarily to listen and take notes, and then provide a staff report that gets put on the website from the city planning side. And I'll put kind of at the end, I can put the contact information for the Planning Commission and the boards that would people can contact for public comment. So
thanks, Thomas, and I'll make you a co-host, and so that way you can share as needed if you have information you want to put up there later on.
Sure. Thank you.
All right, so I think Thomas pretty much covered why we're here, how it's going to work. We'll hear from the applicant, take a look at some drawings. If you could make sure you kind of point out why it is, at least to your understanding, that you need to go through the dam process, and what relief, if any, you're seeking at the Zoning Board of Adjustment. I think that would be helpful because as a board, I know we'll ultimately be asked to either write a letter of support or maybe write a letter raising potential issues or concerns we may have. So understanding what the ask is that's sort of outside the realm of the normal zoning code, if that is the case, I think would be a helpful thing to make sure we're aware of as you go through your presentation.
Sure thing. I'll start by sharing my screen. I'll just talk over that. All right, so I'm starting with a render of how the house would look on the street. And there's a significant setback for a portion of it, so it kind of doesn't take over or appear too large or separate from the other houses. This is just a render, so can't. No, actually, no. This is a pretty good depiction of what it would look like.
So yeah, it looks pretty close to what it will be.
Yeah, definitely. We're trying our best to comply with all of the zoning regulations, and I think so far we are succeeding. There are requirements around landscaping to shield parking out front, and there are requirements about limitations on the size of retaining walls, and this is to make the house not such an imposing or bad presence on the street. So this is what the neighborhood would see, but otherwise we're also working with stabilizing the slope because this is a large building and there's going to be significant excavation. I think that a main concern is just like the amount of excavation that will happen, and we're moving forward responsibly, designing retaining walls that will keep the slope stable, except also not really be an oppressive presence on the hillside. And the plans really follow the model of the rest of the houses on the street as well. There's the floor below grade over here, and then there's 2 stories above. So it doesn't divert too much from what's already there.
Sorry to interrupt, but is this in the steep slope overlay district, in the zoning district?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so you're required then to get planning commission, go to the planning commission first to get approval?
Hmm.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. So what will happen is after these retaining walls go in that you see, the whole thing will be landscaped. So the goal is that in the end, the slope or the landscape doesn't appear as touched as it will be.
That's also for soil stabilization too.
Yeah,
I've built on the hillside before over on Roanoke Street. So on the more the Mount Washington-ish, I guess. But yeah, I had to have geotechnical core drillings done and retaining walls there as well. And we had to replace all vegetation on the slope, where any of the, excavation was. And I think it just makes sense, from a, especially being in this landslide prone area, just to make sure that we cover everything. And realistically, with this property, there's not a lot of trees. There's actually no trees, at least where the house will be. There are some in the very bottom of the street, like where the, I forget what the street below it is. There are some trees down there that we won't touch. But anywhere that there will be excavation, there are currently no trees, which is a good thing because it won't disrupt the soil too much.
And so have you done the geotech work? I mean, have there been borings taken?
Yes.
yeah.
Who's your geotech engineer?
CEC, Construction
Okay.
Engineering Consultants.
Yep, I know those guys.
Yeah.
Good outfit. Okay, and no issues, at least preliminarily?
No, yeah, it was all, it was like the main issue is if there's like that red silty clay. That's like the landslide prone stuff, but it was
Red beds, yeah.
yeah, it was I think there may have been a house here at one point, so there's fill 6 feet down and then shale, like rocky shale below that. So I think should be pretty good.
Yeah, and these footing depths are based on structural engineers' analysis of the building.
And so as far as the retaining walls, the retaining walls, at least as designed right now, comply with the, with the zoning and land development regulations, to the best of your knowledge?
Yeah, there's one important regulation that we've had to design around, and that's the limit on retaining wall height at 10 feet. So we're staggering these retaining walls so that they don't go over that height limit.
Yep, that tripped up a lot of projects. What's the distance between the retaining walls then?
Well, this varies. So lower on the slope, those block retaining walls, those, I'd say those are about 8 feet apart. And then this looks to be also like 9 feet apart. These are still, these are the intention pending approval by a structural engineer, but we're sticking fast to this design.
And it'll probably vary once we get up to the property and see exactly where the shale or where we hit some rock. It'll probably vary on where the walls are and how far they're spaced out.
Yeah, and all of this will be landscaped, so ideally you hardly see a retaining wall.
Yeah, I thought I remember there being some regulation as to how far apart the retaining walls could be. Maybe I think that's maybe what Brad's referring to. But I can't recall what it is offhand. Brad, is that your recollection?
That's what I was thinking is right. They have to be 10 feet between them or something like that. And the zoning board might flag that as well as a variance.
Well, and I guess that kind of leads me to maybe a larger overall question. And I'm certainly not being critical in any way, but if it turns out, and maybe this is a question for Thomas more than anybody else, but Thomas, as of right now, what I'm hearing is the project's in a steep slope overlay. But as we sit here, it doesn't look like there's going to be any variances that are required. If it turns out as this thing gets fleshed out more and the structural engineering is more fully complete, and it turns out that a variance is required, aren't these folks going to have to come back here for another meeting? Because that's not up for our consideration right now.
So I think if this would count as like the formal meeting, the idea is ideally this would have, as close as possible to what would be, the final design. If there are some adjustments, I can double check with the staff for the ZBA. It may be the case that if it's substantial enough, you might need to come back for kind of an informal meeting, still with kind of held with the community, but not maybe counting formally as a dam, in the sense that it wouldn't require maybe another 30-day period for public comment, but it might still be important to come back and update the community about the change with the variance needed. That's one possibility, one route. There's kind of, I would have to check, with fellow staff as to, depending on what happens, if something would be needed or not, but there is a possibility, of that.
Yeah, okay. I'm not trying to torture these folks. I mean, I've been on the developer side, and I know it seems like these meetings just are endless, and having to basically get so many, be in front of so many people, get so many approvals. So I'm very sympathetic to that. I think our questions and kind of the issues may be different if there's an inability to comply with the zoning code as written. If there's no variances required, we don't really have much room to say anything at all, other than, thank you for making sure we're in the loop and helping us, understand how your project's going to work. But it's a very different situation in some cases, depending on the scope of a variance, that kind of thing, as to, whether or not we would have to go back and, pass along those concerns to our board, because, we're only a couple board members here, and we don't really make any decisions on our own. So it's just helpful to know what the issues are. And I'm just hoping, I'm fairly new to the RCO and dam process myself. And I just want to be clear as to when the timing of when these things should occur, and what makes the most sense. So thanks for answering to the best of your ability, Thomas.
For sure.
And
I was going to say, there's some, I think there's some scenarios where a second dam, like officially with another 30-day period, could be required, but there's kind of a spectrum depending on exactly the circumstances. So we could appreciate, I think it's good to, where you can get kind of an early engagement with the community, but also it's important, as Kevin was saying, to be prepared to come back as needed to make sure there's that engagement if there's a significant new change in approach. So happy to stay in communication on that.
And I think even maybe more importantly, I've had a little bit of involvement over the years with the zoning board and what they do and don't approve, and what they are going to beat you up on and not. And I know those retaining walls are a big deal and especially in the steep slope overlay district. How many walls were there? 5? Was I reading that section right? You were at 5 or 6 walls, or like 3 of them were the house, or can you just?
Yeah, this right here, these are below grade. These hold in the parking lot. I'll pull up the site plan, so maybe that'll.
Yeah. And again, I don't really even want to be the adjudicator of this. I want you guys to have a nice project that you can get through zoning, and that isn't going to run you into trouble, isn't going to run afoul of the slopes.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And that's something that, we will, Jess, we can make a note to look more into the spacing of those retaining walls. But based on what I did, the project I did a couple of years ago, I did have, we had to build the retaining walls a certain way. So we're kind of following those guidelines. And then also just the way that the slope is, like, we're trying to avoid having any zoning adjustments, right? So that's that's why we're not, that's why we're having the retaining wall, so that we don't have a foundation exposed more than 10 feet, right? So that we don't have to get a variance approval. So we're going to try to stick with, whatever zoning is requiring, or whatever is within the code. That's what we're making the adjustments to meet the code, essentially.
Yeah. it also involves a decent amount of landscaping and 2 new street trees. So that's exciting.
There'll be a lot of fresh air up there.
Yeah.
We love our street trees, so that's fantastic. Do
Yeah,
you have
I think it's important to highlight that because they do, the front yard parking will irk them, which I think is not something that's, you might need a variance for front yard parking too.
Well, there's a
And so-
garage.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I missed the garage.
Yeah, it's just a driveway, but yeah, that's why Jess added all the fancy pampas grass to.
I missed it in the rendering. I apologize.
No, that's
Oh,
all
yeah.
right.
Oh, I
Yes,
see, it's a side entry. Oh,
Yeah.
that's why I missed it. Okay,
Yeah.
I got you.
And all of this gets landscaped, meeting the screening requirements.
Got it. I missed, yeah, okay, I thought it was just a parking pad, which I know they will argue with you about a little bit. Cool.
Do we have anyone else on the call before we get any further along, just to make sure there's any other questions that are being answered while we go through? I just see still just Karen, Brad, everyone else is making sure their beers are cold enough for the game and the wing orders placed and all that good stuff. So, priorities, I get it. Okay. So that, this has all been very helpful. Anything else you want to tell us about this particular project? Do you have anything like a Google Mappy type thing that shows us where this is in relation to maybe the neighborhood in general? If you don't, that's okay. Everyone has Google
Yeah,
Maps. That
I
they can
mean,
check.
I have Google Earth open in a new tab, so I might as well.
Great.
Let's see, 1035 East Warrington. Interesting.
1033. Because I don't think they're just setting the address now. I don't think.
Oh, they're making it 1033.
Well, that's the neighbor. There's no address to it right now. I have the lot consolidation.
Okay, cool.
You're consolidating 2 lots?
There's actually 3 lots. One lot is like 9 feet. But yeah, there's actually 3 lots.
Cool.
So this is why it is a steep slope. And while there's a lot of vegetation here, there are only a few trees and we're not coming close to those. Our construction stops basically here. Yeah, this is.
Yeah, this is great. This is really helpful to kind of get some perspective on topography and location. So thanks for taking us through this.
Yeah. There's that strip of shops.
Can you go to the street view, Jess?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right across the street from like Phillips Heating and Cooling, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, that's that lot. Yep.
I walk up there all the time. I always love that view and wondered, I was hoping someone would do something cool up there. So that's going to be an awesome place.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it too, and I tried to retain the floor plan and the flow and the floor area while drawing the walls back from the adjacent houses, because I also love that view and I don't want to rob it from the people who walk by there every day.
That's a good question. Are you impacting the people on the up, the away from city side of view at all, or is the house step back so that their view is not impacted? We played that game on Pius Street a little bit where someone put a giant wall right up against someone's view.
No, it's not impacted.
I think it's actually sets back because I didn't want to be as deep as that house for privacy, and then also just so we're not as far down the hill.
Yeah. Have you reached out to those people at all?
I met them once whenever I was there early on. I think it was before the clients purchased the property, but I have not talked to them since. The guy 2 doors down, he did approach. He is the one that emailed me asking about it, but he asked if he could buy it. And it's not, they said, you know, whenever it's built, but other than that, I haven't talked to the guy in the brown house.
Cool.
So yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else here. I mean, so I'll give you some background around the people that are building it. So I'm the contractor. So the customers that I'm building it for, they live on the slopes now on Stella Street. And they had been looking for lots for about a year and a half, 2 years in the city. And I told them no on maybe 5 different lots because I thought it was too extreme, like the steepness and slope. So this one, honestly, you know, for being on the hill, I know it's steep slope and everything like that, but it's going to be pretty, you know, generally easier to work on than some of the other, you know, sites that they were looking at, just based on, you know, we're going to use poured concrete foundations, you know, so it's easier to drop all the concrete in, and it can be deeper as the slope goes, you know, so the site's actually not too bad if you went and walked on it. It does drop off at the bottom, like at the back of that brown house, but where we're actually going to build is really not that steep, maybe 10 feet, 15 feet below grade.
Cool. I mean, I appreciate it. I mean, I think you guys have certainly provided, you know, everything we could ask you to provide at this point. I know that, you know, again, if you run into some, you know, regulations, zoning or otherwise that, you know, are going to cause a problem, certainly we'd be happy to talk to you again or whatever the, you know, appropriate process is. But, you know, thanks for taking the time and walking us through. And yeah, I don't think I have anything else. Brad, do you have anything else? Maybe Brad's
No, sorry. No, yeah, I know. No, I don't. The only thing, well, yeah, one real quick. Can you show me the facade that faces the city?
Just a second.
One of those renderings you had. I know Gavin's going to
This
distract
one,
me.
yeah, this is
No,
that faces,
The one that, no, the other side. This,
oh, that faces the city. Yeah, okay, that should be in here too.
I saw it briefly when you were scrolling through them. I just was interested in it.
The side that faces the city.
There we go.
This is definitely being changed. This doesn't include the new retaining walls. This will be finished when the structural engineer gets back and I know exactly where the retaining walls are going to be. So all that exposed wall and concrete is just not going to be showing.
Okay. Yeah, that was where I was headed with this, is that it's kind of just plopped onto the site versus sort of responding to the slope of the site.
Yeah, that's where we're going to add the walls. And if it, I mean, depending on the slope is, instead of making those, you know, if we're going to put the retaining walls, instead of putting wood decks there that are suspended, I mean, we may just make them patios that are grade level. But it depends on where, you know, how the slope and the retaining walls turn out.
Thanks. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. All right. Well, Thomas, I'm going to call you back into action because I think you have a great slide that even though we might not have a lot of residents here today, as Kara said, we're going to post this on the our website, southsideslopes.org. And there's some other contact information I think that you have if you have that handy. Sorry to put you on the spot. If you need a second to dig that up, I can do some filler here, little couple jokes. Or, yeah.
I'll free the screen up if that's okay.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, thanks.
Well, and I can, I'll have to dig up that slide, but I can put, for now, and let me put in the chat, the planning commission info. We have that.
Do the one where like the dog pulls the plug out while people were like, you know, trying to technical difficulties. There you go. It's up on the up in the chat there.
That's kind of, this will be listed here. There's all different ways people can provide comment once it gets to or related to eventually going to planning commission. So yeah, people can email, or you can email planningcommission@pittsburghpa.gov. to any written testimony that can be accepted until the business day before the meeting at 12 noon. And then I listed the website there to track the planning commission notices for what goes on their agendas. You can also snail mail is also another option that they list the details for, and then people can join the meeting itself to testify and do the raise hand function. So that would be planning commission. I think if there's a need to go to zoning board of adjustment, there's changes there that would require significant level of shift in terms of the zoning board. That would lead you need to go to ZBA. Then I'll be in touch with you, Gavin and Brad, and we'll kind of and Jessica and Ian, so we can coordinate if there's a need for another meeting. Let me, while you're doing that, let me pull up if I can. Hopefully, I can find that slide. Sorry, one second.
And in the interim, Ian and Jessica, you have my contact information. If there's anything else that changes, you want to just pass along informally, I can certainly get that to the rest of our board. And if we need to get information out to our residents, we're happy to do that for you to kind of help the line of communication.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Yep. It's no big deal, Thomas, if you don't have it. I mean, I think you shared all the information you need to, and certainly I know how to access it if we need to get in touch with you or our residents need to provide any comments.
I think I've got it right here. So I'm just adding in section. Okay, hopefully that's going through. You can see that PowerPoint.
Yes.
Cool. Okay. So let me just jump to, so here you can show the planning commission that says the web page, put in the chat, multiple web pages there, email, as well as snail mail option. And then for zoning board, if it were to go to that, this is how to contact the zoning board. So pittsburghpa.gov/DCP/ZBA, and zoning board at pittsburghpa.gov is the email there. So I know my understanding is for this, it may not go to the zoning board of adjustment, but if it were, that's the option to contact the zoning board, and then it is expected to go to planning commission. So this screen shows the way to provide comment there. So I think does that cover kind of what you were getting at?
Yeah, I think that's it. There may be, I don't know, is the next steps, or is that where that's the ZABA slide?
ZBA. This is just this slide is kind of how to contact Pittsburgh City Planning on social networks. The general background, I had some slides on kind of general background about development thresholds for DAMs and for the role of the RCO. So like in this case, kind of the introduction I was giving was like the role that RCOs play, their formal role. In the case of when there's development thresholds met, where in this case, for example, it being in a steep slopes overlay, you need to go to the planning commission. That requires a DAM. For the zoning board of adjustment, there's kind of specific standards for when something would need to go to the zoning board of adjustment, or for when, depending on the zoning variance requested to the zoning board of adjustment, may involve a dam. This is kind of an overview also of the development thresholds, where if you have a large structure, 2,400 square feet plus, 4+ new residential units, large parking areas, like use variances, ZBA, when there's large scale institutional or other master plans, plan developments, and then also, when it goes to art commission, historic review commission, planning commission, these are some of the examples there for development thresholds. So But I think this is kind of the key info here for people that would like to follow up with public comment. You can also, and they could also follow up directly with Southside Slopes Neighborhood Association as well.
Right. Good stuff. All right. Thanks, Thomas.
No,
Again, good. What do you got? You good? Thomas, do you have anything else?
oh, sorry. Yeah, no, that should be good. I think we'll just be in touch as it progresses through zoning, and should be good. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks again for your time.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah, we'll see you.
Thanks all.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye.